Guys, what made you realize this girl is definitely not into me? Gave a girl at work my number on a piece of paper and she handed it right back and said we talk at work all the time so let's keep doing that. We set up a date. She stood me up. When I asked her, she simply said she forgot. Asked a girl if she wanted to grab lunch together sometime. She said she was busy that day, which was interesting as I never specified a day. I went out to a restaurant/bar with 4 buddies. Some ladies sent over a round of drinks. To my 4 buddies. Went to her apartment. Then I helped her with Tinder. Unless the girl directly says to me I am into you, or some variation, I will assume, by default, that they are not into me. My roommate encouraged me to ask this girl out. He said she really liked me. So I ask her out and set a dinner date. I pick her up and at dinner, she barely responds to me. I ask questions about her major, her family, etc. and all I get back are short answers and no follow-up. I'm frustrated and she's unhappy and I guess we both look miserable when the waitress tells us that we need to perk up and be happy. She then asks how long we've been dating. Her face falls when I tell her this is the first date. She goes, oh, and walks away and doesn't really talk to us again. After dinner, we were supposed to go to a friend's house who was having a party, but I look at her in the car and say, look, obviously neither one of us had a good time. Instead of going to the party, why don't I take you back to your dorm? She said yeah, and that was it. I went back to my roommate furious and asked him why he thought she had a crush on me. He said he thought she would once she got to know me. Yeah, well she didn't. 1. Why did she even go on the date? I have no idea. 2. Motives of my roommate? I had a pretty bad breakup a few years before and I believe he was trying to help me out. When I came home and confronted him on it, he said what I posted above, making me realize he hadn't even talked to her. 3. This, unfortunately, did happen. I can laugh at it now, but I was furious back then. This happened around 1991 or 1992. She really only talked to me when she needed something. Asked her to senior prom. She said yes, but when we got there she ditched me to hang out with another guy she liked. Wasn't too bad though, cause I danced with another girl who I got along better with. Oh snap. So, last fall I went to class and ran into this really cute girl and I thought, hey, I'm gonna try to talk to her more, and over the next 2 weeks I found 0 openings until we were told to get into groups for a project. Small class, but I wasn't in her group, so I asked her if it was cool if I joined her group because they seemed more serious than my other group. Bunch of losers. She said yes. So it was me, her best friend and another girl I'd talked to for a bit. We agreed to meet up on Friday at the library. We talked a bit more before then and became friends. She's really touchy, so she'd grab my arm, lean on me, etc. I thought she was into me. I show up early and she was there alone, so we began to talk and she's so much like me. Has a weird sense of humor, very smart, and super friendly. She even liked Dragon Ball. That's the dream. Also, her favorite Spider-Man movies were the originals and not the Holland ones. Then the other 2 girls arrive and I see her phone and her lock screen is of her best friend. The other girl comments, ah, your best friend's your lock screen? And she says, nope, my girlfriend's my lock screen. So that really made me realize she totally wasn't interested in me at all. Funny thing is, we all are still really good friends. We've tried to take classes together and she's helped me out when I had trouble. I accidentally ruined her surprise birthday party. We hung out while we could, she'd buy us lunch, invite us to her place, and we really have a good time together. Those 3 girls are the best friends I've made in university. It's kinda sad, but before I went like 6 months without anyone in college saying my name or even talking to me. They weren't mean. They were just not my friends. But I met these girls and I have a friend network. I have a constant study group and she's even helping me lose weight because I couldn't do it on my own. She wasn't into me, but I honestly couldn't care less. I'm way happier now than I was before I met her. When she used to give everyone hugs but only ever offered me a high five. Stopped texting first and realized that she never texted me for 3 days. It was totally one-sided. I told them I had feelings for them. They responded with, I'm dying. At a bar with some friends. My boy John starts trying to chat up this girl and her friends. I approach and try to wingman. This girl makes hard eye contact and says, well, it was great meeting you guys. I, of course, say likewise and drag off John to go explain to his dumbass how to recognize when girls are politely telling you to fuck off. When you go in for a hug and she gives you the side hug. When she asked me if I knew if my friend was interested in anybody. I was only just starting to maybe have a crush on her, so it didn't hurt, but like, definitely wasn't pleasant, lol. She gave me a thin paper wristband she has made which said the wristband of friendship. I've heard them all. I like you as a friend, I think we should see other people, I know speak English, I'm married to the sea, I don't want to kill you but I will. I asked her out. She said ew. I don't remember how we ended up talking, but I ended up asking her out to dinner and she said yes. We went, ordered our food and ate. The entire time she was on her phone, so I just paid my bill and left. 10 or 15 minutes after I left she started blowing up my phone, not to ask where I was, but to demand why I didn't pay for her food. I just responded by blocking her. Don't give me awards, they don't do anything, instead please gift the money to a charity, that way ITLL actually help something. When every conversation is abruptly ended by LOL. We flirted for several weeks, hung out every day, I kept feeling a closer and closer connection but due to circumstances I could not control we were never alone enough together for me to test it. Had some friends plan a camping trip and I invited her and she said yes. I even specifically told her there's gonna be 2 couples there so we're gonna be in a tent just the 2 of us, she said yeah she knows. Get to the trip, we have a few drinks and I ask her if she wants to take a walk with me to look at stars, I get it, it's corny, shut up. Once we're a little away from everyone I tell her how much I like her and attempt to go in for a kiss. Nope, sorry chips con queso, I'm not what you're looking for shattered me, utterly gutted. When I expressed interest and she recoiled in horror and told me I was embarrassing her. She said I'm not ready to be in a relationship. And proceeds to get into a relationship. R.I.P. me. I hope she's happy though, I really do. I once went on a date with this girl. Bought her dinner. Went downstairs to the bar/nightclub for a drink afterwards. She ran into some girlfriends and just went over to their table, sat down and started chatting and drinking. I sat alone for about 20 minutes, then just left without saying anything. Never heard from her again. I asked for her number and she offered to give me her email address instead. /sunset smile, I didn't realize until I asked her out. We had been talking and hanging out for a few months, she and I had matching personalities and we were both more energetic around each other than around others. I had a massive crush and I felt like taking a chance so I told her I liked her, and she said damn, I'm really sorry, I feel we're better off as friends. I guess I didn't realize she wasn't into me until she said as such. I moped for a while before finally being able to have a shit happens attitude towards it. Nowadays she's happily with someone. Our friendship has faded away, which is actually more upsetting than being rejected romantically. I'm still single, but I'm happily single so it's alright. If I ever feel that feeling again, I will always take that risk. /sunset, it's been 7 years since then and I haven't felt that feeling yet. Caught her making out with my manager. Asked a girl out and she said I can't, it's my girlfriend's and I 2-month anniversary. She is straight BTW. So I was on one of the nightly FaceTime calls with this girl I was super into, then at around 4 in the morning, she says that she is getting a call from someone and needed to answer. The next morning I see her Snapchat story of her on FaceTime with another guy. The next night I call her and she says she is already on call with someone and it turns out to be the same guy. We lost touch and I am pretty sure those two got together. She kept talking about how she needed more commitment from me. Relationship had turned long distance. I was paying for the travel and doing the majority of the traveling. I was the one that had moved away. Sustained it for about a year, but I just realized that she wasn't into me enough to take what she perceived as a risk in moving 5-hour drive away from her family. Never spoke about her needing to show commitment to me. Think what finally did it was when she got a raise to similar to what I was making and I brought up her starting to contribute to the travel costs, and she laughed like it was a joke. I clarified I was serious and she brushed it off. Nope, I'm out. Stuck around longer than I should have. Was her first serious relationship, which in retrospect I think was a big factor in some of the immaturity. A close friend of several years, who I had a bit of a crush on, had been single for a while, as had I. One day, she called me on the phone out of the blue and said, I'm so horny. Want to drive up and we'll fuck like bunnies? Why, yes, now that you mention it, yes I do. But she lived a 5-hour drive away. And I had to work. So, I worked, then hopped into the car the next morning, drove up for a visit. We hugged, went straight to her bed, but I was getting less than a sense of full enthusiasm. Still, she seemed game. Then, as we just began to start, a few kisses, hand under the shirt, she started crying. Now, here's a little hint to all you guys out there, if she starts to cry, she's not happy. So, naturally, I put the brakes on and say, hey, what's going on? And she's not into it. Yes, she's lonely, desperately lonely. But I'm a friend, not a potential lover. She likes me. But she's not into me that way. But, here's the thing, she's still game to go through with it, because I drove 5 hours, after all. No chance. She's not into it, then I'm not into it. We hugged, went out for dinner, had a great time. I slept on her couch for the next few days of the visit. Curiously, that same visit, she hooked me up with a friend of hers, who I dated happily for 6 months until the 5-hour commute wore it down. TLDR, she started crying. Guys, when she's crying, it's time to call it. After chatting for about a month, I asked her out, for the second time. Wanna meet up and hang out somewhere? Yeah, I'd like to meet. Cool, so are you free this day on this week? No. How about another day next week? No. So maybe the week after? Or after that? No, can't. Okay. So when can we meet? Let me check and get back to you. 10 months, 4 days and 5 hours since then, and I still haven't heard from her. Also, I have to tell this because it's hilarious and I know for a fact it's true. A girl I know was dating a guy who turned out to be married. The wife found out but stayed with the husband. So the guy gets in a car accident and the side chick girl calls to see if he's okay. The dude tells her he has amnesia and doesn't remember her and he's with his wife now. Homeboy done said he got amnesia to get rid of the side chick. Oh man, so many points. 1. Didn't attend my graduation even though mine and hers was like 2 hours difference. I attended hers and her sister's graduation and got them flowers. I waited for her for 4 hours just so that I could hand a bouquet of flower to her since before her sister's graduation, she told me she has never received flowers before so I got it for her. She told me that night that it was an unforgettable memory. 2. I posted an Insta story saying that it's my birthday and she didn't even bother to wish me. I attended her birthday party and wished her a happy birthday every year since I've known her. 3. She sets up a date. I got all excited and on the day itself, I reminded her in the morning saying I'm looking forward to the date. She replied with, "Oh no, it's today?" I totally forgot about it. NGL, it totally broke my heart. 4. Kept on calling me baby, and just generally stringing me along. Only time she would initiate a text is if she needs help. I was in love with her for the past 4 years. Finally cut off all communications and face-to-face meetings. Never felt better in years, smiley face, sorry for the long rant. She started talking about how she was interested in another guy. Pretty clear and harmful way. When they couldn't remember any conversation we previously had, and made the excuse that their phone's text history resets every day. Didn't take a rocket surgeon to figure out she deleted them herself. I said, _hello_ and she just looked at me with a blank stare. When I feel like I have to constantly be the one that has to start the conversation, that it takes so long for them to answer, or worse that they sometimes don't answer at all. I can sometimes get the conversation going again in that last case, but if it happens 2 or 3 more times, I'm usually done, it's pretty clear to me. Other case is she shows a clear interest to someone else, or starts dating someone else. And this has happened to me so many times. I guess I'm not that good at online chatting/texting, or not interesting at all, or that I don't know when it's time to be more direct. Said she was lesbian. When I remembered that I am me. Made a few errors in judgment as a kid, got rejected, and figured out the difference between friendly and flirty. When we ran into her friend while on a walk and she introduced me as her friend. She then asked me what I thought of us and then proceeded to explain how she was still hung up over her ex and not ready for a relationship. She enjoyed being friends and still wanted to do that, but wanted to be clear that's all she could do. It was the first time a woman was ever direct with me instead of suddenly not answering my texts. I told her I respected her for that and she apologized for women everywhere for ghosting so much. I didn't try to date anyone for many years after that. Her direct response changed my outlook on looking for a spouse, in a positive way. I used to work with 2 girls in an auto shop years ago. Was really into one of them. I asked her out, she said maybe another time and I let it go, but still had hope. A few weeks later I had to come back to work as I'd forgotten my wallet. The 2 women that worked there were passionately making out. I then realized that as a lesbian this girl was quite penis averse and my hopes of another time were quickly dashed into oblivion. In my case, when we hang out, I tried so damn hard to entertain, to keep the flow of the conversation. She was just focused on other stuff and seems distant. When after a year of relationship she said, "I don't love you anymore." Yeah, that may be it. When, after I got her number and were texting regularly for several days, she refused to go out with me because I'm too put together to be single, and I must be cheating on my wife and kids. I told her that I'm single, never married, and have 0 kids. She followed that up by accusing me of being a serial killer. I also don't eat cereal. Had a dinner together, and the entirety of her contributions to the conversation were repetitions of "yep, that's cool" and such. Even when I tried to ask her questions and engage her in the conversation, she just had nothing to add or to say. Was pretty clear it wasn't sparking. When she slept with my friend. And then a different friend. Pretty sure she's single with a kid from each of them, but I think she wanted kids, so guess she's happy and I dodged a bullet. The second she said, okay? I asked a girl I really fancied out in primary school once. I was about 9 and 10, as well as saying no. She gave me a whole list of reasons why. She didn't like my hair, I was weird, etc. On one hand, this was brilliant because I got over her instantly. On the other hand, it fucked me up a bit because I've assumed in the 20 years since that all girls feel the same. Would you like to have a date? I'd rather not. And that was that. You'd be shocked at how many girls said they were into me after they started dating someone else. I totally had a thing for you. Wish you had asked me out, lol. Yeah, well, I'm not good at hints. When all her replies were one word. If it gets to that point, I just stop talking to them now. Kissing her, she's just a friend when she thought I wasn't looking. We're actually really good friends now, and is my unofficial personal stylist is the term, I think. She helps me pick out clothes so I don't look like a nerdy southern redneck. I am all those things. But at least I look like a responsible adult and professional. I am learning that my GF doesn't really like me that much from this thread, lol. When she said, I see you more as a friend. Not a girl, a guy. He wanted to call me on Discord, and once I got over the anxiety bit of it, we called. It started out pretty well, and then his sibling came in. They started talking and he went on Snapchat. Then he suddenly called his friend and just started talking to her as I sat there in disbelief. I don't know if he was into me, but it sure didn't seem like it. This happened 3 years ago, but still stings. Sorry for the cringe. Met this stunning girl through common friends. Ex-ballerina, perfect body, beautiful face. We were at a barbecue, we start talking and she kinda looks interested. All green flags. At the time I was just out of my previous relationship and I was working out a lot. I was in very well shape. At the end of the night, with me being a bit drunk, I forgot to ask her number. I realized she looked kinda pissed when we say goodbye and I don't ask to see her again. But it is what it is. One of the common friends, close to her, asked me about her in the meanwhile, and I clearly say I was really into her and I couldn't wait to meet her again next time. Because of several coincidences, we don't manage to meet again for a few months. In the meanwhile, stressed by heavy work in my studies, I was graduating while working full-time job. I had stopped working out and put some kilos. Next time we meet is at a birthday party of another of the common friends. She arrives late because of work issues. I greet her and she acts like we never meet before. She even introduces herself like it's the first time I see her. Flag starts turning red at this point. Few minutes later music starts, people starts dancing. I was in a corner drinking wine and I see her close friend talking to her and indicating me. I don't understand what they say, because of music and also because they are both Russians, but I clearly hear my name. Her face turns horrified. I finish my drink, find an excuse and leave. The restraining order certainly didn't help. When I invited her to go see Avatar in theaters and she agreed but invited her ex-husband along. She's my wife now, but at the time I was like, yeah, I've been friend-zoned into oblivion. Blocked me on every social media account after I mustered up the courage to ask her if she wanted to grab a bite to eat. Self-confidence was already at an all-time low and that was the nail on the coffin. Someone said that she and I would make a cute couple. She turned up her nose and called me grotesque. For those who are still not sure, check out this video. I mean, if I'm talking to a girl and she doesn't make eye contact and answers with one-word answers, my default assumption is that they don't want to talk to me. I was on a date where the girl's mom obviously made her go. We were family friends and my long-term girlfriend had just left me, so they felt bad for me. I figured I could give it a shot and maybe she'd start to like me. Halfway through the date she starts talking about a party she went to where she went skinny dipping in a lake and let multiple guys pull a train on her. I didn't even know how to react, let alone how to keep pursuing her. Generally when she refers to us as best mates or, worse, as the brother she wishes her brother was. When she started making out with the guy sitting next to me, she began to become very confusing and unclear. At first I thought it was normal for girls to be this way, but with time and perspective I realized she just didn't like me anymore and felt too bad to let me know, though she did say it after I confronted her. It sucked, it broke me, and it still hurts. If you're ever put in a situation where you don't like someone anymore, just be direct about it. It was my birthday, we were both single, we were a bit intoxicated, we checked into a hotel but all she let happen was spoon, lol. But every single time I have a girlfriend this girl never stops throwing herself at me. Such an unsolved mystery. When she started planning her wedding with someone else? She was my GF when it all happened. This didn't happen to me, but to my buddy, and it was absolutely soul-crushing to watch. It's a long story, so TLDR at the bottom. Dave and Kat worked with me at a restaurant. We called Kat Crazy Cat, because while she appeared normal, a few minutes of conversation easily revealed the roiling pit of crazy just under the surface. Dave was the classic quiet guy. He was a tall guy, but very passive and easy to just sort of forget. He was hired as a server but didn't have the pep to interact with guests, so they made him a food prep/runner. I really liked him. He listened to obscure music, was chill AF, had terrible dance moves, etc. Super fun dude to just hang with. Kat started pursuing Dave. Nobody knew why, because usually she's all about a man in uniform, or a man in a suit, or really any other guy who literally wore his social status. We all supported it, though, because she was pretty hot and he had literally zero experience with women, so why not? They messed around, made out and stuff, I guess, for a couple weeks, but he was too afraid to push it further. Then, my best buddy, Jake, visited from his first year in the military. Some friends and I went to his mom's place to chill and were having a great time drinking and chatting. Dave was gonna show up later. Well, fast forward 3 hours and we're all on the trampoline when, literally out of nowhere, Jake and Kat are making out hard. That also happened to be the exact moment Dave showed up. Kat didn't even acknowledge the poor dude. Just brutal, man. She was the worst. Dave never hung out with us again, probably blamed me a little. Still feel shitty about it. TLDR, she hung with this dude for a couple weeks, he shows up a party to find her making out with a rando. This dumb kid I knew drove all the way to Florida to bail some girl out of jail so that her parents wouldn't find out she had been arrested. It was an 18-hour drive, and when he got her out of jail she asked him to pick up her boyfriend. They drove home together all the way back to Indiana in complete silence. Also, it was me. When I asked her out, she immediately got back with her ex, who she used to complain to me about all the time, married him and had 2 kids. I think I might still have a shot. It wasn't me, but a guy friend who did it to me. We were hanging out in his room late at night chatting. He said he had to change into his PJs, so I excused myself to his living room for privacy. I heard him chuckling as I left. Several minutes later, he walked into the living room only in his boxers, no shirt or anything. He stared at me waiting to see how I'd react. And I was just shook, staring at him like a... I didn't dare look farther down than his face. He could have just stayed in his room and changed. After he saw that I didn't do anything, he awkwardly left to finish changing, and it was awkward for the rest of the night. I got brother-zoned in high school. We were texting and she said, "I really like you. You're just like the older brother I've always wanted." My dumbass focused on the first sentence. My best friend was her best friend's boyfriend. He eventually told me to quit trying. 10 years later I found out it's because she likes girls and we are both very happy with our respective partners. I had a girl invite me to senior prom, and then when I got there she was with someone else. They laughed at me and asked, "You thought I was serious? Who could possibly like someone like you? I thought you were gay." Rain Engine Smart Support Zephyr Trees Quicksand Alive Expansion Decide. This was years ago. We'd been on a few dates. I thought we were hitting it off. Tried to schedule another one. She said she was free that day. A few hours before the date she said something suddenly came up. That's no big deal. Things come up. No reason to lose faith. Anyway, that continued for 3 months with varying excuses. She kept saying next time, I swear. March through May, all spring, basically. I eventually figured it out and texted her, you can just say you're not into me. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. We should still be friends, though. She never answered any further texts and never texted me again. Whenever I meet new people, I went to pick her up for our date and she didn't return my text. I got to her house and asked her mom where she was, and she was asleep. I once chatted with a girl for several days, about a month, everything was fine, good vibes all the time. Then one day she told me, "I hope we both know we are just friends and nothing else." I said sure, no problem, and kept her as a friend. She suddenly stopped chatting with me and unfollowed me on Instagram and TW. Dated this girl for about a month. You know how you put your arm around someone and they just naturally lean into you? Yeah, she never did that. I don't expect that on a first date, but after a couple of weeks of seeing each other I was expecting some kind of response to me. Oh, she told me she liked me, but how she acted was completely different. The moment was when we were at a concert. I was jumping up and down and yelling and singing. I looked over at her and she was standing there rigid as a pole. Asked her if she was having a good time and she said yes. She said, I'm definitely not into you. I still pursued it because I thought we had a connection and I could change her mind. I profoundly regret that on behalf of her, myself, and everyone who bore witness to that train wreck. It's one of those things that I will randomly cringe out of nowhere when I remember it. Fellas, if they say no, just accept it and they will come around if they want to. Just move on, for everyone's sake.